Good morning. I'm Jasmine Anderson. Suffolk County has reached a settlement in principle with a woman who claims she was sexually assaulted by an officer. It's a story you'll see only in Newsday. The woman claims Officer Christopher McCoy forced her into a sex act following her arrest in 2017. McCoy resigned and then served a year in prison after pleading guilty to denying the woman of her civil rights. Details of the settlement haven't been made public. Nassau County's only public hospital may be on life support. A new report claims the medical center could run out of money in April. The report was issued by a state-appointed consultant that was hired to analyze NUMC's financial health. It claims New Health, which runs the hospital in East Meadow, only has about $19 million on hand right now. New Health's chairman issued a statement saying the findings are generally correct. Nassau County is putting new restrictions on sports teams that allow transgender athletes. County Executive Bruce Blakeman signed an executive order that says transgender girls who compete on girls' teams won't be able to do so at more than 100 county athletic facilities. The order also requires groups applying for permits to designate whether they are male, female, or co-ed based on the biological sex at birth.
There is a movement for biological males to bully their way into competing in sports or leagues or teams that identify themselves or advertise themselves as girls or female or women's teams or leagues.
This was just purely a political stunt today. I mean, this is going to go absolutely nowhere because this executive order to ban transgender folks is illegal. It's illegal. It's unenforceable. And because New York State has comprehensive laws that offer protections for the transgender community in all aspects of their lives, including sports.
The new order does not apply to teams that allow athletes who were born female to compete on male teams. State Attorney General Letitia James is condemning the move, calling it transphobic and deeply dangerous. She says her office is reviewing its legal options. 2 years ago tomorrow, Russia invaded Ukraine. We're taking a look at how the conflict is impacting Long Islanders with ties to the war-torn country. Sherry Einhorn has a story you'll see only in Newsday.
It was time of worries. It was time of sadness. It was tragedy that, touched the hearts of all Ukrainians around the world.
Father Vladislav Budash was born and raised in a city in northern Ukraine called Chernihiv. His parents are still living there.
If I can answer in one word, it was hell for me.
When Russia invaded Ukraine 2 years ago, he told me it looked like a bad dream in the beginning.
It was terrible to watch all these videos, to speak with my parents, to see pictures, to check news.
His parents, like so many others, couldn't escape.
My parents spent the entire winter in almost whole time in the basement underground trying to survive, and from bombing, from shelling, from missiles, and without heating and without electricity.
Communication was sporadic and carefully worded for everyone's safety.
Speaking with them, I more was interesting to know how they feel or they are safe.
Father Budash says he seriously considered going back, but told me he couldn't bring his wife and 3 children into a war zone.
My decision was to stay. It was a painful decision. Like I said, I was fighting with my feelings. And I could say that some period of time I felt like guilty that I'm here, not there.
2 years in now, he tells me his parents are surviving, but not really living.
In the context of the war, I could say that they are good, but in the same time, in the context of the war, I could say that I don't know what will be tomorrow.
They talk every few days now. Father Budash says he tried to convince his parents to come here, but they won't leave his elderly grandmother or their home.
For them, it's important to stay. I remember how many times my father answered me that I don't want to leave because this is my land, this is my city, and I would like to be here in this moment.
Father Budash says even as a man of faith, he finds himself struggling with his spirituality during this time of war.
It also was very difficult journey for me from anger, sometimes hate to forgiveness and understanding.
In Smithtown, I'm Shari Einhorn for NewsdayTV.
To read more about this story and the war in Ukraine on Newsday.com, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. For the first time in more than 50 years, America is back on the moon.
What we can confirm, without a doubt, is our equipment is on the surface of the moon, and we are transmitting.
That announcement was greeted by applause after a lander made by a privately owned company touched down on the move. Intuitive Machines says the lander is sending back a weak signal, and they're trying to make better contact. Intuitive is the first private company to pull off a lunar landing. Checking out your hyper-local forecast, showers, light rain today, highs around 46 degrees. Tonight, lows in the 30s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, but it's still pretty cold, highs only reaching the 30s. And here's a look at your futurecast. On and off showers throughout the day. It should clear out by the end of the night. A look at your 7-day forecast coming up.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Home Tax Saver, PTRC Incorporated.
An old barber shop on the East End has been transformed into a museum. It's being used to preserve history and teach young students important lessons from the past. Virginia Huey continues our Salute to Black History Month with this story you'll see only in Newsday.
Hello, so happy to have you today.
A field trip to the Southampton African American Museum took second graders back in time to learn about local African American residents who helped shape our nation's history.
Learning about African American people that stood up for people.
7-year-old Gia Hartline and her classmates were fascinated by the exhibits in the museum on North Sea Road. It's the first African American site to be historically designated in the village of Southampton and the first black barbershop in the country to be transformed into a museum.
This is a really important tool for teaching. We have, unfortunately, the legacy of slavery. We do have the legacy of the civil rights movement right here. So you don't have to look somewhere else. These things happen here. And this museum focuses on showing them the local response to these larger phenomenons.
The museum is filled with paintings and sculptures that are crafted by local artists. Each piece makes an impression on visitors, old and young.
I just like the paintings.
Why do you like the paintings?
Because most paintings are usually about the beach or sunsets, but these ones are about people and stories behind them.
Welcome to Evelyn's Beauty Parlor.
An app guides visitors on an audio tour. They learn about the village's first black-owned barbershop and beauty parlor. It was built by Emmanuel Seymour, who left North Carolina for Southampton in the 1940s during the Great Migration.
Does this look familiar to anyone?
Yes.
This mural tells the story of other local heroes, including Pyrrhus Conser. He was a former slave turned skilled whaler and philanthropist who lived near Lake Agawam in the late 1800s.
It's cool.
The museum piqued the students' interest to come back in the future and learn more about their community's roots. In Southampton for Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Incredible story. Read more about it and see more on our Black History Month celebration on Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box.
Feed Me is brought to you by PC Richard & Son.
The Sunflower Cafe and Bakery has taken the place of a beloved French restaurant in Bayport. As Andy Berlin reports, the new bakery is a family affair. Here's today's Feed Me TV.
From the time I was a little girl and I came to this country till today, I've always had to live outside my comfort zone. So I'm very happy to color outside the box.
Stacy Hansen was searching for a restaurant space for 7 years when she finally was put in touch with the owner of Le Soir French Bistro, who was retiring.
We really feel like it was, all part of the greater plan for our lives where we would land here.
A single mother of 5, she worked together with her daughter Catherine to get the restaurant open just 9 days after she got the keys, because they knew they needed to start making money right away.
And it's been, a lot of work, but it's been wonderful.
They reopened a Sunflower Cafe and Bakery, keeping many of the original menu items from Le Soir and adding a little bit of their own je ne sais quoi. Stacy fell in love with French food while she was studying fashion design in Paris. But she is originally from Costa Rica.
My family moved to Long Island and for a better life, and we landed in Freeport. I was the first person in my family to go to college.
As a child of an immigrant, as a Black woman, as a single mom, how you've been able to...
That's some question. I've had many instances where I had to be the outlier. I think that I was very fortunate to grow up in a household with parents that were very hardworking. My dad always had 3 jobs, my mom had 2, and they always instilled in me that, nothing is ever given to you. You have to work hard for it.
Learning from my mom is just the best. She's so creative. I've called her fierce before. She is. She's very fierce.
This is Andy Berlin for NewsdayTV.
A dynamic duo. For more on the Sunflower Cafe and Bakery, go to Newsday.com, click Get More below the NewsdayTV video box.
Get in the game with Newsday. The best team of sports reporters and columnists bring you in-depth analysis, behind-the-scenes stories, and news from inside the locker room. Get in the game when you subscribe to Newsday, your destination for total sports coverage at newsday.com/sports.
I'm Jasmine Anderson. Thank you so much for watching. We'll leave you with a look at your hyperlocal 7-day forecast.